I picked this book up because I thought this book was about business, really. Thinking in Systems by Donella Meadows. So it wasn't at all about business. It was more about thinking in systems for everything in the world, from politics to economics to nature, everything in between. And which is very true. Very true that uh, that everything is a system. There's a process to it. There's a synchrony to it. The problem is many times it's complex, including business systems. Right? There's always hey, demand and then output, and what the marketing, so on and so forth. Right? There's a pipeline involved. One of the examples she goes is about cars. Like hey, depending on where the demand is, more cars you manufacture, then more demand, then more cars you have to manufacture, which leads to more capital being invested, and then more profit, so on and so forth. Right? There's a whole system to it. And then she says, hey, the problem is sometimes we don't know, and then we think we know, and we disturb the system, and then we find out later, okay, that was a wrong choice. Whether it's in politics, economics, so on and so forth. The biggest thing in politics many times is people thinking, or the governments thinking they can control the outcomes, or market, they control the economics, or GNP, gross national product, whatever the numbers they're trying to hit. Uh, and then adjusting, like hey, adjust the interest rates, or limit how much people can make, so on and so forth, which produces the consequences that nobody expects. That's because truly system wasn't understood. And same thing in nature, right? Many times, for example, one of the recent things that I understood was the intensity of hurricanes increased because I forget exactly what emissions control was made, the ship's emissions control or something, evidently. And, eventually that control was very good. So they reduced whatever emissions the ships were doing and all. But unintended consequences was evidently that increased the, intensity of hurricane. That's one example. Like now, whether that's true or something else isn't true, that's the problem, right? Like scientists, especially, you see this with, climate scientists or whatever your environmental scientists. Many times they make predictions on models. What they can see is it's too many variables to calculate, which is what they're finding, right? And many times, and you only see one side of the argument. You don't see all sides, where a lot of scientists disagree with the models, because there's no perfect model. I mean, heck, most of the climate forecasts are not even accurate in ours. And somehow we think like we can predict years ahead where climate is going to be. Similarly, whatever, population, so on and so forth. That's her point, one of the points. But also then she kind of, she contradicts herself a little bit, in my opinion, based on reading it. Somehow she thinks like, oh, there is a system to control the nature if you find the right system. The problem is, again, the complication. There's so many variables thinking we know. I'm not saying you can't try, but thinking that's like the famous saying, the science is settled during COVID. The guy that's, everybody knows his name, the worst, uh, you know, boondoggle in history about COVID. Anyway, that's my opinion. So you don't have to believe it. But anyway, either way, the controls were put, saying that this is what we found out. It's a system. This is what happens if you don't take vaccine, or if you don't put protection, whatever. Instead of hearing the alternate opinions and considering all that, and then seeing, okay, Does this fit into the reality? Similarly, everywhere, it's the same thing. Everything is complicated. You can't 100% know everything. So even if you think in systems, you can know maybe 90% of the reality or X percentage, majority of the reality. But what I understood from this is, and reading through this, which I already knew, I didn't have to read this book, I guess, in this sense to understand everything is a system. It's just that we don't know, like our body is a system. Heck, we don't even know how our body works. Scientists are still trying to discover. We don't even know how our brain works. Forget everything. With all the science involvement, we still don't know that. Or how the whole nervous system and neurology works. There's so many factors in it. Uh, Maybe 90% is known, but not 100%. So, anyway, you know, I would say a good, decent book to read. I would highly recommend this book in the sense that, at least for me, it wasn't, because I thought it was more about, uh, I don't know, business systems, because I'm very into that. I'm in AI, I'm, kind of in multiple startups, and that's how I think now. I take a system and automate it with AI and doing it pretty well now, or I don't know, doing pretty well. I'm getting there. I'm getting better at doing that, I would say. Um, because in AI world, it's every day is a new year, almost in these days in the AI world. Anyway, the point is, if you think this is a book about business, I don't know if anybody's able to see because of the light. I'm going to try to turn it off and see. But anyway, thinking in systems, Donella Meadows. She passed away a while ago. I think Diana Wright is the one who kind of did the book, finished the book after Donella wrote the book. I would say, nice read. I wouldn't say highly recommend read. It's up to you. So, but it's a good one to know if you didn't understand the systems that everything follows, or potentially there's a system to everything, right? If you don't think that, then you might want to read this book to understand that. Anyway, short review.